preparing students for that 21st century workforce. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. Jonathan Lightman on behalf of the Faculty Association of California Community Colleges. We are appreciative of the governor for his support of our segment. We are particularly supportive of the $75 million for full-time faculty, and we do align ourselves with the Vice Chancellor's comments on the average salary. We're also extremely supportive to you for the augmentation to part-time faculty line items, particularly office hours, as we see this as an alignment between instruction and student success. Also on the $200,000 for the Academic Senate, the money for CalWorks, as well as for EOPS, we see that if there's going to be implementation of SB 1023, that both the EOPS and the CARE programs need to be made whole, and we believe that CARE would be scored under EOPS in this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Jennifer Baker with the California Teachers Association. Jonathan Lightman did a great job, so I'm going to echo the comments that he made regarding full-time faculty. We are very appreciative of the additional resources made available, and the Chancellor's Office perspective is a much stronger perspective. We want to make sure that the funds that are provided for the hiring of full-time faculty actually go towards specifically increasing full-time faculty, and hope that we might be able to find additional resources to achieve the 75-25 number. It's very interesting, the conversations that have happened around basic skills, and particularly the dialogues that are happening in the legislature regarding legislation, dual enrollment, additional needs in the area of basic skills certainly do necessitate the need for looking at what we might be able to do in the long term to make sure we're providing a systemic, ongoing approach to serving all students, particularly students that need basic skills. So the idea of research is actually very meritorious. So I would like to align myself with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Erica Romero on behalf of the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities. We're very appreciative of the augmentation for programs that help the underserved succeed. We do have some concerns with the proposal for the community colleges partnering with the CSU for remediation, both in terms of whether or not the community colleges have the capacity to take on those students and what it means for students who are community college students that need those remedial classes as well. And in addition, whether or not the CSU students would then be labeled community college students, because as we know, the transfer rate for Latino and underrepresented students is quite low. So we'd want to make sure that anyone who was qualified to be at a four-year institution was appropriately labeled as a CSU student. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Megan Brightwell on behalf of the California Federation of Teachers. First, we support, obviously, the governor's proposal for $75 million to hire full-time faculty, and we'd also like to thank you and support your recommendations, your modifications to that proposal on page 8 of your analysis. In terms of the part-time office hours, we support the subcommittee's recommendation to fund $3.5 million to restore some of the cuts that have happened to that particular program since 2008. And on the basic skills and outcomes funding, I just want to mention here that we do support the $60 million for that program. We understand the process and the thinking behind your subcommittee's recommendation for that piece, but we do think that that money is important to fund faculty's ability to implement these innovative models on campuses. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Lizette Everett on behalf of the Community College League of California. Want to align our comments with the Chancellor's Office with regards to adult education. We think it's very valuable to collect data. This will be important as you move the initiative forward, but do have concerns about the $25 million for data not being, or the $49 million for data not being part of the pre-split, and also what that means for implementation pressures on the Chancellor's Office, since they are not receiving staffing to do that, but think it's a valuable proposal. Also want to state that we are in support of the administration's proposal with regards to full-time faculty, and actually would even say that keeping that more flexible would allow for more part-time parity, office hours, and some of the other elements that this committee has identified as priorities. With regards to basic skills, we are in support of a basic skills initiative, but also would consider it more important that whatever basic skills resources do go to all colleges and not in a competitive or grant format. And I'm out of time. Thank you.
Next speaker.
Chair Block, Senators David Bala Hawkins with the California Community College Independence Faculty Union. We are supportive of the $75 million in full-time. We are reviewing the budget language. We want to ensure that it doesn't supplant existing funds and actually supplements and accomplishes what the governor has proposed. We're very appreciative of the part-time faculty office hours. We have too many instances where students are paying the same amount of fees and paying the same amount for textbooks, and yet they aren't getting full service in the classroom and unable to get advising, and we think that's very important. Finally, we're asking that you do fully support EOPS. It's gone through dramatic cuts in the past few years, and any sort of additional funding would be appreciated.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Thank you. Nicole Rice, California Manufacturers and Technology Association, also a member of the EDGE Coalition who testified previously. We're here in support of the governor's basic skills proposal. Getting students through these remedial courses and improving on their basic skills is the first initial step to actually getting students on a path of success to careers, development, and also post-secondary education opportunities. And redesigning these remedial courses is actually a critical step to ensuring that we're going to have a workforce that's prepared to meet the challenges and demands of California's most integral industries, such as advanced manufacturing. So for that, we urge the committee to support the governor's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon. Fabio Gonzalez, President of the California Community College EOPS Association. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee members. I want to echo Vice Chancellor Troy and Mr. Lyman for their support for the EOP in care. We're very grateful to the governor for the much-needed COLA allocation. While we would have loved to see the full restoration within the May revise, we want to say thank you to you for the consideration of additional money for EOPS, and we look forward to working with you as the process of the budget concludes. In addition, I would like to ask if the care was included within the EOP&S budget, just for clarification.
It is scored within the budget, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other members of the public wish to speak before we move to a vote? At this,
This is discussion, right?
no. No, there's a vote.
Oh, so that's the difference between these vote item.
Okay, seeing no further questions, I'll ask staff to read the motion and call the roll. Senator Allen.
I guess I'm going to vote to support this. I do share some of the concerns that have been raised vis-a-vis basic skills. Some of the other things that were mentioned, though I take heart to the chair's comments about further negotiation and conference.
Yeah, thank you, Senator Allen. It is sometimes hard to take votes that are contrary to what we may support in the long term, just to get a better short-term discussion of the items. That's pretty unique to the budget process. We were pretty much supporting almost everything else in the proposals. It's just basic skills I feel need more refinement, so that's separated. With that, read the proposal, please.
Approve subcommittee's community college plan as reflected on the table on page 7 of the agenda. In addition, adopt placeholder, budget bill, and trailer bill language to implement proposals as necessary. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock?
I'd like a clarification. I'm looking at my page 10.
Page 7. Issue 10, page 7.
But yeah, but the recommendation comes on page 10, correct?
Yeah, the recommendation.
So it's a little different, so
Oh.
So this is basically, the motion is to adopt.
so you've got proposed.
Judy Hyman, Legislative Analyst Office. We raised a concern on the draft agenda that only approving the augmentations. You haven't taken action on the May revision proposals. So I believe that your package is the May revision proposals with the changes that you're making to them, both the augmentations and the reductions, to get to the total package. So the action would be to adopt the total package.
Okay, then, Mr. Chair, why don't we bifurcate it and go?
Okay, we're going to recess for 5 minutes until we get this straightened out. Thank you. Item number 10, page 10. I'll ask staff to please read the recommendations and then call the roll. First recommendation.
Adopt May revision proposals as reflected in the May revised column on the chart on page 7, and adopt placeholder budget bill and trailer bill language necessary to implement the subcommittee's action. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock?
Aye.
Senator Allen?
Aye. Okay, please show that passing 3-0. And now the second recommendation.
Adopt changes including augmentations and reductions as reflected in the proposed augmentation column on the chart on page 7. Adopt placeholder budget bill and trailer bill language necessary to implement the subcommittee's actions. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock?
No.
Senator Allen?
Aye. Okay, so we show the first passing 3-0, the second passing 2-1, and now we move to issue number 11. Issue number 11, I'd like to invite up Keith Nizam from Department of Finance, Judy Hyman, LAO, Dan Troy, California Community Colleges. Okay, we'll begin with Mr. Nizam from the Department of Finance.
Thank you. So these, issue 11 reflects several proposals that we brought up in our overview. So if you have any specific questions, we can answer those now.
Okay, thank you. From the LAO, Ms. Hyman.
Judy Hyman, Legislative Analyst Office. We recommend rejecting the student equity plan augmentation. The governor's January proposal provided $100 million above the base funding of $70 million, so that more than doubled the funding. And the colleges have already been experiencing difficulty absorbing the large increases in student support funds, including both the student equity and student support programs. It was $100 million in each program. And furthermore, the language regarding foster youth could still be adopted separately from the augmentation. The legislative analyses of SB 1023 from Senator Liu estimated the cost of the 10 pilots at $1.7 million. So that easily could come out of the $100 million augmentation that the governor already has provided. So we recommend rejecting the additional $15 million. And still, you could adopt the budget trailer bill language requiring the inclusion of foster youth in the determining of the funding allocations and directing the chancellor to identify the pilots.
Thank you. Moving now to the Chancellor's Office, Mr. Troy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, we're supportive of the governor's augmentations in this area. We believe that the $15 million augmentation for institutional effectiveness will help us effectively bring about the transformation in the system that we've been attempting to achieve through the Student Success Task Force reforms, the baccalaureate degrees, 1440 degree approvals in recent years. So we think this will be very helpful to disseminate best practices and provide technical assistance to districts. So we are supportive of that proposal. We're also likewise supportive of the governor's proposal to add $15 million to the student equity plans over the January level. So thank you.
And
Thank you.
to
Ms. Hyman?
clarify, Mr. Chair, we're also, we do recommend adoption of the institutional effectiveness portion of this proposal. We think that'll help pull together the various initiatives that the colleges are trying to implement right now.
Thank you, thank you. Any questions or comments from committee members?
I'd just like to split the vote.
Okay, Senator Morlock, you see the written recommendation before you, staff recommendation on the,
1, 2, 3, 4, and
Right.
I'd like to
in
vote
4
one-
separate
one-
votes?
one of
Okay.
them, so a small thing.
That'd be fine, no objection to that? Yeah, anything from Senator Allen before we move to vote? Okay, in that case, it's been,
Chairman, if I may, we do have a few concerns with the staff's recommendation. We don't believe the foster youth language adjustment that staff has proposed is necessary. It's our expectation that the Chancellor's Office implement the terms of SB 1023 with up to 10 community college districts within the globally available funding of student equity. So we have that expectation, so we don't think that language is necessary. Further, specifically to the 15 million augmentation that's proposed for matching funds, we believe that our proposal to disseminate and to develop and disseminate effective practices specific in the area of adult inmate education supports the intended policy goal of providing for adult inmate education. We believe that our proposal specifically calls out adult inmate education and the development and dissemination of effective practices. Further, we believe our proposal encourages buy-in from local community college districts that would be implementing these programs. And yes, we would welcome outside assistance in implementing adult inmate education.
would the LAO or Chancellor's Office like to react to any of the Department of Finance comments?
I think I'd like to ask a clarifying question perhaps about the inmate education language here. It's our understanding through the foundations that are in support of this initiative that they require a state match of at least $5 million in order to draw down the $15 million that they are willing to provide for this. So just to clarify, it's the committee's intent to add to that amount so that there's more resources available for the purposes of inmate education. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing further on this, we have 4 different motions to make, 4 different recommendations here. It's been requested by Senator Morlock that we break them up and handle each one individually.
Mr. Chair, can I so Senator, just so we can understand your perspective, which one are you planning on voting no on? And
Number 3.
And that's because
It requires funding beyond the governor's plan,
oh, I understand. Okay.
kind of consistent with the last one.
Okay, right.
I'll ask staff to read the first motion and open the
If you
roll.
want to combine 1, 2, and 4, that's fine.
Yeah, we could do that. Okay, let's do 1, 2, and 4.
Motion 1 is to approve the governor's proposal of $100 million for student success and support programs and $115 million for student equity plans. And the second motion is, the second item to be voted on is amend the governor's proposed budget bill language regarding the implementation of foster youth to state that up to $15 million shall be used to provide adequate support for foster youth students. And the item number 4 is adopt budget bill language to clarify that existing student equity related programs may access student equity plan funds. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock?
Aye.
Senator Allen?
Aye.
Okay, show recommendations 1, 2, and 4 passing 3-0. We've separated item 3. If you can read that motion and call the roll.
Adopt placeholder budget bill language to require the Chancellor's Office to provide one-time matching funds of $15 million Proposition 98 funds for the purpose to receive a match of private state funds to provide adult inmate education and supporting the educational success of currently and formerly incarcerated community college students. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock?
No.
Senator Allen?
Aye.
Okay, please show number 3, recommendation number 3 passing 2-1. And we now move on to the last item on the agenda, and then we'll have any additional public comment on any of the items. Last item on the agenda is community college veterans non-resident tuition. We have our panel before us. We'll begin with the Department of Finance.
Yes, Keith Nizam, Department of Finance. So this issue reflects trailer bill that we're adding to clarify legislation that was passed by the legislature and signed by the governor at last session to conform to federal requirements that employee or veterans who have access to GI Bill benefits are charged in-state rates rather than out-of-state rates in order to continue to receive those students and the federal funding that is associated with those students' GI Bill benefits.
Okay, thank you. Leo?
We have no concerns.
Thank you. Chancellor's Office?
Chancellor's Office is supportive of the language. It'll allow our colleges to continue being eligible for their veteran students to receive GI Bill benefits, and also hold them harmless for the apportionment change from not charging the non-resident tuition to resident tuition. So we're supportive.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Any public comment on this item? Come on forward.
So, Chairman, similar to our previous comment about adopting placeholder trailer bill, we would request a similar consideration here.
Okay.
Ashley Satudi on behalf of North Orange County Community College District in support of the language.
Thank you.
Now I gotta vote no.
No, this is just on this item, veteran. Okay, with seeing no further members of the public who wish to address the committee on this item, please read the motion and call the roll.
Adopt placeholder trailer bill language for the community college veterans non-resident tuition. Senator Block?
Aye.
Senator Morlock?
Aye.
Senator Allen?
Aye. Okay, I'd like to thank and excuse the panel. At this point, is there any further public comment on any items where folks have not had an opportunity to comment yet? This is your chance.
Lizette Everett, I'm representing the Community College League of California. Again, just want to reiterate strong support and thank the committee for continuing your support for equity funding. This is an important issue at our colleges. We think it's important to finally address the systemic equity gaps and opportunity gaps that exist at all our colleges. And these efforts have a lot of momentum that you will see in the years to come as it continues to implement great programs that will affect all of our students, since a lot of them come from a lot of need, from diverse backgrounds, and this is really important. So again, we thank you, and we're fully in support of the administration's proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no other public comment, any further business for this committee? I'd like to thank my colleagues, I'd like to thank staff on both sides of the aisle. And with that, we'll call this committee meeting adjourned.